have quorum. Approval of minutes from the meeting on October 19th. Will be approved the minutes.
Judy had a couple of notes that she emailed me. One was Matt was listed as being present, which he wasn't at the last meeting. And there was something else that you noted, Judy, that I don't recall. So providing Judy's amendments, just approve the minutes as amended.
Awesome. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Public comments, items not on the agenda. Okay. Yes, we have one.
I did an updated version of Judy Dad.
Talk loud over by the microphone.
Where's the microphone?
I can hear you. It's over.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did an updated version of Judy's picture of Judy Dad, passed around so you can take a look at it. I've got the news article that kind of describes his military career as a pilot over World War II in England, and then a description of how he was had a picture taken in front of John Arkansas's version of the same plane is still told the picture.
Thank you.
So that's for history here.
Okay. That was the basis of your
That was the basis of our donation to add to the bureau.
Awesome. So we're gonna hang this.
We put the other one, Judy, that you left on the corner of the room by the map over there.
A descriptive one, how it's connected to the Iowa City area.
Yeah. So if we want to swap those out, and if you want to take that other one home with you, or we can find a second location for it.
Bruce will do that. Thank you.
73 missions. Lucky to be alive.
They had some close calls.
Yeah, sure.
One crashed on a beach.
All right.
Items for discussion on house and companies.
Unhoused encampments.
Well, this is the last meeting before we start taking formal actions. So I think Jennifer is going to give us a little bit of what's ahead of us. My understanding, and make sure we're all on the same page, we didn't want anything to be effective until the winter shelter opened, which that opens on December 4th. So using that as our timeline, on December 1st is our 3-day notice window where we go post signs at the encampments, notice of eviction signs for the 3-day notice. Then on December 4th, we can file the paperwork with the court system to begin the court process. We still want to go through the court process. That way we can go through, clean up the area without having any constraints on us, or trying to find out who actually stuff belongs to some degree. And beyond that, Jennifer, I think the rest is up to you.
Yeah, no, I think you've got it. After we file, then of course we'll get a court hearing probably within about 14 days. And then after that is when we would get the order, and then that's when the eviction would actually happen. Now, if no one's still there, as Mike said, I would still recommend that you go through with it so that we have authority to dispose of the property, and then also gives you authority to decide what you want to do going forward. So if you want to exclude people from that area. Now we're looking at doing, I think primarily we've been talking about the Stevens Drive side, but we're also looking at the Sturgis Ferry side as well. So we are clarifying that the Sturgis Ferry, that's airport property. We believe it is, but we found some old records that kind of transferred to the city for the building of the transit building, and some excluding a piece. So we're going to just verify that, but provided that the commission is still in support of what the plan is, we'll plan to do that side as well, after we can.
And do we need a resolution or anything at this point? assume that.
I think I cannot remember if we actually, I think a motion would be sufficient, just that Mike and I can proceed. If that is still the commission's intent.
Then I move that we give Mike and Jennifer the authority to move forward with the eviction notices described, where the posting would be, Jennifer, correct me if I get this wrong, we were going to post on December 1st and we were going to file on December 4th.
That's correct. So we have to post by December 1st. We
Yep.
could post earlier.
Yeah, but we want to post with as little notice as possible before the 4th, when we purposely timed that out, right?
Right, because we have to
Yeah,
provide
you
the
have to provide enough
and
stuff.
we wanted it to coordinate with the opening of the professional.
Okay, yeah, so then I move that we give Mike and Jennifer the authority to move forward with the plan as described, where we'll post on December 1st and the filing will take place for the eviction on December 4th. For both, for at a minimum for the port land that has been discussed previously, and also Sturgis Ferry, if it is in fact a appointment. All in favor? Aye. Sorry, that was really wordy, but like, there's a lot to it. It was good.
Okay, and then hangar mural project.
Right?
Give me a moment.
Resolution for acceptance project was completed.
So Jenna came back, did the touch-ups of the art project. That resolves any of the outstanding issues with the mural. And we're ready to accept that project as complete.
I move that we consider a resolution accepting the work for the hangar A art mural complete.
All set. All in favor?
This is a-
Roll call. Okay, Judy. Aye. Chris. Aye. Remind me. Ryan. Ryan. Aye.
Warren.
And Earl. Aye.
Okay. Carries.
Okay, airport construction and FAA grant projects.
The runway 25 threshold relocation, the contractor came back out in the last couple of weeks and finished up the lighting installs. So that project, as far as actual work associated with it, is complete. Carl and I are starting to work on the closeout stuff, so you could probably expect a acceptance resolution at the next meeting. The 1230 relocation is still a spring project. As we get a little bit closer, probably January, February, we'll sit down with the contractor and start talking schedule so that we can present that schedule out to everybody and make sure people are notified of when we expect 1230 to be closed. The terminal area study, the team and I are going through, we submitted the draft report to the FAA with the results and the decision from the airport commission to go after a new building. FAA wanted a little bit more detail in the report, so we're kind of retooling the report to some degree and presenting the information they're looking for. We have applied for our grant for the design and engineering and historical and environmental reviews for the process. Again, that's not something that we will probably find out if we have the funding for until February. There is some concern with possible areas of what we have planned not being eligible for FAA funding because it's all running on the AIP rule book, and there's a defining line between public use and private use, so we're trying to bridge that gap. And I think a lot of what's getting hit right now is the landscaping, because a lot of parking is fine for the most part, but a lot of the landscaping type stuff is typically not eligible. So we're taking a look at different ways we can approach that. Carl, is there anything else I'm missing?
We are looking into many different types of funding for everything from economic development to what they call raise grants, which are public for improvements to like access limitations, that kind of thing. So we're looking into what other alternative funding sources there would be if there are areas, and there likely are, that the FAA may say those are not eligible. And we're also, we have a meeting, Mike and the science team and the FAA have a meeting Friday morning, teams meeting to go through their comments that we've already submitted, or Mike and the team have looked at responses. We have 7 pages of responses. And a lot of this to just add some more justification of why the decision was actually some, like, for example, they were questioning the amount of parking. So I went through and added a table showing what we could justify. It's far more than they're asking for. And we showed based on the FAA guidelines, the size of the terminal based on the traffic we have for this one, which is again far larger than we're asking for. So that kind of justification, we'll meet with the FAA on Friday morning to go through that. And then again, we're looking into other alternative funding sources because based on FAA rules, there will be portions of the project that may or may not be funded, or eligible for funding by that. So we have to look at alternative funding sources. So we're looking at that.
We received word from our congressional delegation that the next round of bipartisan infrastructure allocations is imminent. For us, that amounts to $293,000 for fiscal year 24. So that should put us just under $700,000 of allocated BIL money that we'll have available for our phase 1 of our solar power project, and that was estimated to be about $500,000. So once the allocation is official, we'll be working with the FAA to get a grant and working with CMT to get a scope of services for design, bid, and construction, so we can keep that moving forward. FAA 24 AIP pre-application. Carl hopefully handed out a few documents to everybody. This is the pre-application that we do every year to make sure we're eligible for funds. The pre-application itself, the projects we have on tap are surrounding the solar power project and the terminal building. We don't actually have an FAA AIP, which is the Airport Improvement Program project, planned until 26. And part of that reason is with all of the stuff we did with the 725 reconfiguration, we essentially used all our entitlement dollars. So we're rebuilding those. And in 26, the AIP project is finishing up the crack and joint sealing work on both the west half of 725 and 1230. And if that looks good to everybody, those are due as a first round for comments to the FAA tomorrow.
Mike, of the attachments, just to make it easier, I handed out all 3. The largest 13-page attachment is the one starting for fiscal 25. The 4-page one is for what's current fiscal year that Mike was mentioning. When you get the BIL funding, that you will move forward with the one that's shown on the 4-page attachment. And then the single-page summary is just kind of a review of everything. So you can go through and see how it lines up for the next several years.
Great.
Wonderful. FAA fiscal year 24 AIP pre-application,
That's this.
and Iowa DOT grant project fiscal year 23 program.
Yeah, the terminal building improvements, I think we're just waiting for the contractor to get their supplies. Looks like it's going to be a springtime project unless we get some abnormally warm winter weather. But other than that, that's where we're at for that project. We don't have any other locally funded projects, and I don't have anything on the future projects list of things to talk about.
Remind me what we're doing to the terminal building.
We're taking off that plywood square and putting the glass brickwork.
That's right. Okay. Yeah.
Airport, locality funded projects, there's nothing going on, future project, nothing going on. Airport operation,
The FY25 budget, we threw that back into the packet. Electra and I had our meeting with the city manager's office. It certainly could have gone a little bit better than it did. In the time between what we submitted to City Hall and by the time all of the other departments and got their numbers in, we had a very substantial shortfall in our budget. Part of that was because we didn't include the potential savings for the solar power project. We kind of made a conscious decision not to include that, but another chunk of it was because there was a $10,000 increase on our insurance premiums that was not in our original information that we received. So between the two, we ended up with about as it had been at the meeting, $20,000 deficit in our budget. Electra, Chris, and I were able to meet that afternoon and kind of revised it to. We included the utility savings for our solar power. We did a few other things where we projected some increased revenue, and I was able to take a look at a couple of other accounts and kind of match the trend lines with what's in there. And we are now showing a $5,000 surplus. The side effect of that is it probably does mean next fall we're going to be looking at a hangar rate increase just to make sure we're keeping on track with what we said and what our numbers are supposed to be. The other piece of information that came out of that meeting is our general fund balance, which is basically our cash on hand, is very, very low. A lot of that is due to the way we did the art project. We prepaid for the art project, so there's a $40,000 outlay essentially that is going to be reimbursed through the community foundation and that art advisory committee allocation. But as of right now, we are, as far as the general fund, we are in the negative for cash on hand. And that's where we sit for the 25 budget.
what happened with the electrical bill or water bill? Was it that we've been getting overcharged?
We had the water department come out. They found a couple of leaks. We got fixed up. I think they were in areas where we aren't really using the spot. So I think it's more of a due diligence on our part where we need to be monitoring some of these places a little bit better so that if leaks are springing up, we can catch them more rapidly.
So we're getting a reimbursement or?
Well, it's not a reimbursement, but we've corrected the issues, so our bills should go down to our normal levels per se, rather than what it had been for being an elevated number.
Thank you. Management events, nothing. Events, you have a
In the management, I don't know if I put anything in my email, but the city manager's office did send out a message on the compensation study and compensation and classification study. Don't expect any recommendations for the airport to alter what we're doing out here. So as far as that goes, I think our part of the work is probably done for that study, and the city will have some other decisions to make for things coming up. And for events, as the 2024 calendar gets populated, we'll start populating that column in our agenda so that everybody's aware of things that are going on.
Thanks,
Mike. On the other side of things, I just got back to town. I've been gone for 5 minutes last week. I think I was on a flight. I can't remember exactly why, but I wasn't even able to promote it. But on the other side, at a conference, basically everybody's seeing essentially the same thing. We're seeing activities easing down, values on airplanes are easing down, and the things are cooling off to a certain degree. That's probably not bad from the standpoint of parts availability and stuff like that. But anyway, so it was really interesting to learn and see. Crew wise here, the shops have been staying busy, which is good. Activity at the airport's been good. Fuel flows actually are up compared to last year. Of course, last year we had a lot of downtime with runway work and stuff like that. Training seems to be going along pretty good from what I can tell. That's pretty much it on Jet Air side. Maintenance wise, there really wasn't anything in particular that stood out on the report. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Okay.
Thank you,
That's
thank
good.
you.
Yeah, exactly.
Commission member report? What is it, December? What's the next one? December 14th. Okay, anybody? No?
I guess my only thing with the kind of thought of raising the hangar rents is there any way we try to look into projects that benefit those hangar tenants? Because I think right now, a lot of our stuff is things that the hangar tenants don't use directly. And it starts to become a hard sell when Cedar Rapids is, I mean, I could get a better hangar at Cedar Rapids for almost half now.
Really?
Well, I mean, $100 for a TV. Or even if it's under 50, because I mean, now we're at 180, or is it still 176, I think?
Well, the hangars on the south.
Well, yeah, I'm on the old school side.
200.
Yeah. So I guess that's my only worry is like, what are we doing to give value back to the hangar tenants? If the hangar tenants are what fund most of the airport operation.
They have an airport to fly their airplane.
I mean, that is consolation, I guess, but.
Convenience is close to their home.
I've also, yeah,
Okay.
you and I are both hangar tenants, so we shouldn't have a lot to say about that. We have to recuse ourselves of any votes, but my feeling is even though they're cheaper in Cedar Rapids, we're still dirt cheap compared to most other cities,
Well, much larger cities
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
I mean, I think. Yeah, like if I go to Charleston or Atlanta or Portland and I pay $700 a month for a hangar, but I'm also plus 2 million people. So, I mean, I guess that's my only thought. It's like, I know it's hard, but I think in a lot of these discussions, it's like, are there things that we can do that can show that value to the hangar tenants? And I mean, in my mind, like, how are we utilizing the hangars? How are they doled out? Like, what kind of, I don't know. Because, there's 2 year waiting, 2.5 year waiting for hangars.
at least, yeah.
So it's like, Iowa City's a nice airport, but is it,
So what?
should it be nicer than just having a runway? Like, should I
I have
go?
a suggestion what we could do. I'm all for.
I don't know, can we put,
So I
grass?
think probably, if you wanna have a more in-depth, I think you can have a more in-depth conversation, that's probably something I wanna notice up on a future agenda.
Yeah.
Because I think right now we're not raising them, that's just kind of how the budget, I think Mike indicated, would probably need to work, but I think that is an appropriate conversation, but we wanna notice it up.
So that more people could participate.
Correct.
Yeah, I'm receptive to having that.
Good.
Sure.
Something to talk about. Like we talk about building big new terminal buildings and all this stuff, we should talk about kind of the value for the people.
Yeah.
Paying to operate the place.
You can have open a hangar attendance bar or something.
Are you gonna be a bartender? You get good rates as a bartender, is it?
That wasn't a serious benefit, sorry. Okay.
Okay, so are we done with commission reports? Everybody want to be here?
You said what day is it?
14th December.
I should be.
I'll be here. Okay. Staff report?
Appreciate everybody working with me on getting through this illness, and I don't think I have anything coming up that should tear me away. I am planning on my typical Christmas to New Year's vacation as far as time off goes, but beyond that, I should be around.
And is that last week or the last 2 weeks of December?
That'd be the last week. It literally from like the 24th or 23rd, whenever our city holiday starts through January 1st or 2nd, whatever. I don't know specifically the days. I don't have the calendar in front of me.
Okay. Thank you. And anybody motion to adjourn?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's 26 minutes. What was that?
That's it.